Hola, ¿cómo están? Yo soy Mirna Casillas.
Y yo soy Lolber Romero y te damos la bienvenida a este espacio.
Pensado y creado por la Fundación Mexicana de Vitíligo.
Para estar más cerca de ti.
Esto es
VITITALKS,
el podcast.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of VITITALKS, the podcast. As you already know, the Mexican Vitiligo Foundation created this space to connect with inspiring guests, learn from their expertise, and hear the stories that help us better understand life with vitiligo. Today, it is my pleasure to welcome Jean-Marie Marant, a leading international advocate for the vitiligo community. He is the president of the Vitiligo International Patient Organizations Committee, VIPOC, and vice president of the French Vitiligo Association. Throughout his work, he has helped strengthen collaborations between patients, researchers, healthcare professionals, and institutions to advocate patient-centered vitiligo research. He also leads the Vitiligo Patient Views study, which is what we're going to talk about today, a global initiative exploring the lived experience, treatment access, physical social impact, and quality of the life of the people living with vitiligo and their caregivers. We are truly honored to have him with us today. Jean-Marie, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for the invitation, Andrea. I'm really happy to be with you today.
I'm so happy. I'm a little bit nervous because let me tell you, you are my first person I interview completely by myself. So I'm so excited that I get to do this with you for the first time.
It's my first interview with people from Latin America. So I'm so happy.
Oh, this is so exciting then. This is going to be a great talk. You'll see. I would like to start to explaining to everybody and to understand a little bit more about VIPOC. So can you briefly introduce yourself and tell us about your role in VIPOC, please?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I am a guy from France. I am, I would say, a patient advocate with vitiligo for more than 35 years. And from the start, involved in the patient organization with the French Vitiligo Association. Some of you were not born at that time, but vitiligo exists before internet and before all the social media. So we were at the second patient organization in France born on vitiligo patient views. And the first was in the UK, and 2 years after, it was the French Vitiligo Association. And this association, this patient organization, did lead the creation of the Vitiligo International Patient, not committee at the start, it was a conference. And after this conference, it was decided among the participants of this conference that it will be necessary to build a committee. And we start the committee since 2028. And it's growing, it's growing. It's now an alliance of patient organization for more than 50 members, like your organization in Mexico, the Foundation one, and from more than 40 countries. And every month it's a growing community.
Oh, that is beautiful. And thank you. Thank you for this initiative because it's very important when we're going to start with something, so it starts with structure. So congratulations and thank you for that. And can you tell us, for the people who may not know VIPOC, tell us a little bit more about its mission, to describe its mission?
Yeah, the mission is to help the patient organization on the ground to be able to make their work better and to be heard on a global basis. What we need to know is we certainly need the support in each country, in each region by the patient organization. But to improve the situation of the vitiligo patient, as I would say, a lot of decisions are made on an international basis, is to have a committee, a structure that can advocate, that can propose solutions to the institution, to the dermatology institution, to the policymaker, as well to the health institution. And in this regard, VIPOC is in contact with the Global Vitiligo Foundation, is in contact with the United Nations for the recognition of the World Vitiligo Day, is in contact with the World Health Assembly, with the World Health Organization, and so what we want to have is to advocate, to contribute to the global debate, to get people more recognized with vitiligo, to have recommendation about the treatment and the care of the people with vitiligo. As well, when it's taken, the decision is taken on research, is not in, I would say, only in a country. It's need to have people speaking together about the research. So the scientists, the researchers are also bounded in such organization. So, and we are talking together about we are really, I would say, improving the way to get better treatment, better research on vitiligo, and to have better care and cure for vitiligo patients at the end of the process.
That is beautiful, and thank you, because a lot what we can hear a lot, not complain, but this comments, about, oh, there's nothing for us. But when we think about it, is we have to be a part of something, and to make us notice, to let the industry know that we're interested, in this studies and the treatments. So thank you for this beautiful mission, for this beautiful labor that you do with VIPOC. And like you said, is to make everything together with one mission, but with the correct structure, with the correct education, because it's very important, right? And I'm talking about the survey that we've been talking and sharing a lot in our social media, no? We would like to know how this global study was born, and what did inspire you to create it?
All ideas begin in a brain with some thoughts, and also with the experience. Due to the experience with the Vitiligo, French Vitiligo Association, to the contacts that we had with other patient organizations, mostly in Europe, but also in the States, it came in mind that to several people that it is important that it will be not only scientific data from researchers, from dermatologists coming on the plate, but also patient-driven data. And it came to the French Vitiligo Association to propose what is the acronym. It was a double acronym. In French is Vécu des patients du vitiligo, which is in English, Vitiligo Patient Views. It's a VPV study. And so we presented this to the VIPOC members at the Cairo conference, and they said it's interesting. So we went as VIPOC with the French Vitiligo Association to the pharma industry, and they were interested about the project because it can bring two most important things, which are our vision about what is the experience and the daily life of vitiligo patient, as well to be able for that to bring to the debate these numbers, this percentage, with the testimony of the patient themselves, which is, on scientific point of view, it's bring together the numbers and the patient testimony, which is, I would say, very powerful, and not only, I would say, Excel file, not only graphs and percentage.
Oh, yes, like the importance of also listening to the person who is living with it, right? Not just to be data, and making a little bit more humanized, right?
Yeah. And in addition to that, this vitiligo patient view survey will get, from that we will get a report, a global report, the most people answering to this survey, to this study, will make it more and more powerful. So I would say we need to see the importance of taking, I would say, 10, 20 minutes to answer to the question, will bring for the future and the next years the data to defend the vitiligo patient, to defend the communities, and not only the patient, also the parents, the caregivers, and so on.
I'm going to take this opportunity to also welcome Karen Perez, president of the Mexican Foundation of Vitiligo. And Karen, welcome to joining us. This is very exciting and emotional for us because the Mexican Vitiligo Foundation working together with VIPOC and making this survey that we're talking about accessible for everybody and how the importance in Latin America, that this is why we're doing this interview with Jean Marie, so we can talk about the importance and answer all the questions that the community have. So also welcome Karen for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Andrea. I love you as a host.
Thank you.
I know this episode is very different, very international, and I'm loving listening to you. And January, I'm so happy to have you here in our space and give this message to all the Spanish speakers and English speakers also. We're going to have the Spanish subtitles, but anyone speaking English can listen to this. So it's an honor to have you here with us.
So, and continuing and talking about this this survey, something that we have maybe questions as a community is, what is the gap in the current vitiligo research that this study aims to fill? Jean Marie.
Yeah, I would say is the first ever patient-led study that was never done. And it's important to say that. So it's also a challenge for all the vitiligo community to make this patient survey as a real success. And it's important to see that it's totally international. You are a worldwide speaking language in Spanish, so it's important that we can be contacting. So Mexico, Spain, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, and so on. All these countries, maybe also the people from speaking Spanish in the United States, are able to answer to this survey, as this survey is translated in 16 languages, including English and Spanish and French and so on. So this study aimed to see not only what is for the patient, vitiligo patient themselves, but also for the caregivers, which are, I would say, rarely asked about what is their experience about vitiligo. And this is a scientific anonymous study. It's clearly anonymous study. It has this study an ethic committee review. So which one of the hard ethics committee, which is a French one. So we have a number of registration, and what we want to measure is the impact of the vitiligo in all the areas, quite all the areas about vitiligo, which is what is going on in the school when you are children or when you are adolescents. What is going on when you are entering into your professional life, with what are, I would say, also the caregiver experience about them. What is going on about when you enter to the job, the relation to the people, the intimate life, which is also impacted for vitiligo. So there is 9 global areas that we want to measure, and one of this aspect, which is, I would say, it surprised myself when we enter to the ethics committee review, is the fact that you have 3 categories of people that can answer to the questionnaire. The one are the people above 18 years old, which is okay, quite. You have the caregivers, that are the people who are taking care about a vitiligo patient below 18, but you have another category, which are with their caregiver authorization, the people between 12 and 17. That means between 12 and 18. They can directly answer to this to the survey, which is important because we know all of us around the screen and the table when we are discussing that the adolescence period is, I would say, critical. So we need to take support to them specifically to get them information, to get them maybe answer when they are asked about their vitiligo. So it's really important.
If I can point out the importance of having a study made by the patients. So I have both sides as a dermatologist and as a patient. And I know that dermatologists don't understand the importance of vitiligo. So I hear all the stories in my office every day, like a new spot is so catastrophic and no one is understanding, not even my dermatologist or my psychiatrist. So this is the patients saying to the world, this is what's going on. This is the patients raising their voice, and the international effort to do it all together. This is also one of a kind. It's so beautiful and inspiring to see everyone joining together to raise their voices. This is really amazing. Like all around they gathered and every question was checked and revised and double checked and discussed. Every simple word was chosen to be important and to be representative of what people are living. So for years, this has been a disease that has been a little bit ignored. Yes, there's no great treatment. Yes, it doesn't hurt. Yes, you can live with it. So now people are saying, well, don't ignore this. This is what's going on. This is very inspiring and this is one of a kind.
I believe it's beautiful how it's like everybody in the world like coming together for one purpose, and especially also including like the caregivers, because we see a lot in our support groups. We actually have in the Mexico Vitiligo Foundation, we have a support group for mothers, for example, and to even so it's exciting that in the survey it's also included for the caregivers, because we've seen that there's also another story behind the caregivers. No, it's so the importance of the patients and also the people who obviously for young ages that they need somebody to accompany them in this process, but to know that there's more to the story. So having different aims and different voices, I believe it's inspiring, and thank you so much for this initiative. And so we already talked about the importance of this gap. So vitiligo is often measured clinically by skin involvement or disease activity. But what does those measures fail to capture about the real life impact of vitiligo? Karen?
Yeah, so this is something we see in the office every day. So there's a patient with a new spot, and it's really devastating. And the new spot is just millimetric, right? And they found it somewhere new, and they're having this emotions that something's coming up, that something's changing. So if you only measure the clinical millimeter of the spot, then you would say like, well, you're quite fine. It's okay. It's not itchy and it's not gonna kill you. That's a very often thing that people say. But the patient is living a different reality. The patient is facing all of these emotions and all of these perspectives and all of these possibilities in their mind. So it is very hard to measure what the patient is feeling when you cannot see it. So you need a different device, a different way to listen to the spot. The spot is quite innocent, right? If you just look at it, but there's so much behind it. That's important of the importance of the study.
It's important to complete what is under the care process, the psychological impacts of the disease, of this devastating disease for the people. So, and when you have only one spot, it can be taken as not important by somebody even aware about vitiligo as a healthcare professional. But in the real life of someone who is an elder one and someone who is a younger one, it will be a very big difference. It can be the reverse. The elder, it's more impacted by the young, but mostly the young are much more impacted. So we need to bring this to the stage. We need to have explanation and data for that. What I can tell you, there are worldwide recommendation about the care and the cure of vitiligo, which are scientific published. Some patient representative was part of this. We insist on the fact that the people need to be addressed to a psychologist when it is a need. It is a dermatologist task to try to measure the impact of the on the people on the psychological part. It's not only a question of skill, it's a question of a holistic view of the patient. It's really important to measure that. So it will be, I would say, not the sole outcome of the Vitiligo patient view study, survey, and so on, but it will be one, I'm quite sure, one of these parts, because as you know, when you are in touch, direct touch with the patient, it is what you are experiencing any time. So you know that the truth is somewhere there, and we need to transfer it to the HCP, to the healthcare professional.
That is very important because I'm obviously living with vitiligo, and we've seen that depression or mental health is very important and sometimes not very visualized, or the importance. So having this, like we said, this human part to the view, to the studies, I think it's maybe the essence, the most important essence, because if we see currently, if we see that that there's a little bit more need about more investigations and more research and more treatments, but if we don't start by believing ourselves, the importance that we have, that our voice matters. So having this space, so it's beautiful, and I say it as a patient, that it's so gratifying knowing that there's a place that is ready to listen to us. So talking about voices, how important it is in this study to be global and to include voices from different countries, cultures, and regions.
Yeah, it's I would say we need to have this international view. I would say the culture are so different. The disease is quite the same, but the understanding of the disease is different culture per culture. What is right in Mexico will be not right in Brazil, will be not right in the east part of Europe, maybe, or in China, in Japan, in Asia, in India. What we need to emphasize is the fact that without having a view what is going on in the culture, we are missing a main part about the disease. I can tell you, and in some culture, it's about sorcery. In some culture, you can't marry because you have vitiligo, or one of your member family is with vitiligo. In some countries, when a children has vitiligo, is not able to go to school because it will be tell to the people that all the family has vitiligo. In some culture, I would say also in Europe, in Western Europe, you have people that refuse the money when you grab the money to go to buy your bread, for example. So all this picture, as I would say, there are some assumptions from the scientific research community about that, but what we need is really to bring it as it is the truth of the daily life of patients with vitiligo.
When we were designing the questions, there's one that asks, how were you misdiagnosed? Which were other things that they told you it was it, and it wasn't, it was vitiligo. And I asked them to add, in Mexico, we have mal del pinto, which is a misconception. So people will call vitiligo or mal del pinto as if there were synonyms. but there are different diseases. And it's very important in Mexico to say it that it's different, because even the name Mal del Pinto, it's saying like there's something bad wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that in the study that they added this option, especially for people living in this area. So every area has their own different diagnoses, their own different misconceptions, and their own different importance. So for some people in some cultures, vitiligo on the feet is really, really bad. And for some others, it's just like, well, I'll just want to wear sandals or whatever. So it's really important to know this difference and to be able to be specific for what the culture needs instead of doing of all these generalizations. So this is a very important call of action for Latin America and for everyone listening to us. If we only get answers from one culture, we won't be able to extrapolate the experience. So once again, because we've been saying this all over and over, like raise your voices and please answer. It's very important to listen to you specifically wherever you're living and listen to us.
I'm in shock, to be honest, because I mean, I obviously and I understand that there's a need because there's a lot of discrimination, no? But today I'm learning, so I know that a lot of who's listening to this episode that how I could have an idea, but I never imagined how extremist it could be in some countries. And I've never, I mean, I believe that it's even more important, to raise this voice. And it's interesting and so thoughtful to, I mean, I saw when I answered my survey, because I already did, that there is different countries, but now it makes sense why. So I love that you both share this importance with us, because I believe that when people listen to this, it will maybe make them even more anxious to answer, because it's also our way to help bring down this barrier of misinformation and this discrimination. So this is also a part of how we can contribute to this. And how can the results of this study help improve the vitiligo care, the research, the education, and advocacy? Jean-Marie?
Yeah, after analysis of the data, which will be at the end of the summer, we will be through the analysis having and publishing a worldwide report about vitiligo, and this report will be brought to I would say to all the dermatology institutions around the world. So that will be your task in Mexico, to do it with your Mexican dermatology society, and to be able to use it to bring the discussion to explain and explain that. And this will be also done in the different dermatology congresses. It's important that can be shared with the dermatologists, with the HCP. They are, I would say, very open people, but they need to understand, as Karen said before, they need to understand what is the scope of that, and to understand why it is important not only to take care about the little spot you have on the skin, which is, I would say, for a dermatologist, it's a point, but which is for you a self-image issue, which is you feel diminished in your self-confidence. You will be anxious. So we need to help the people. And so the people when a vitiligo patient is going to the pharmacist, is going to his doctor, and to the dermatologist. So we need to involve and to inform about that. The best way to do that is through the scientific congresses. It's the reason why we were willing to have a scientific study with an ethics committee review, which is done right now, and to be able to publish on scientific reviews, that to disseminate this information to all the public. And what is also one of the importance of this report, which could be at the end also made in region and maybe country by country, but the patient organization need to get funds to get it, because obviously VIPOC it's not so a rich organization, but and it's also to go to the policymakers. It's also to go to the pharma industry and to tell them it's important. We have the data. We need to do something. And as a lot of the discussion are made on a global basis, it's the reason why we have this global report. But also as the consultation with the HCP are made on a local basis, so we need to bring this information and the report as well. I would say the proposal for action, the call for action to the country level and to the policymaker, for example, and to the health institution that are deciding about the medicine, the approval of the medicine. So we need to get the data already to their level too.
In medicine, we have a say that says, if it's not measured, it doesn't exist. So we can say like, oh, you know, this is very hard to live this, or oh, I'm very sad about this. But if it's not written, if you don't have the data, then it's very hard to be listened to. So having this be made very professionally, scientifically, with the approval of the ethics committee, it's going to be the way to be heard. So what's going to change? Everything's going to change, because it's very different to say like, oh, you know, patients are having a hard time versus 28% of the patients reporting feeling this. 48% of this age gap reported this. So now you have all these specifics and you can act on it.
And yes,
in the report, in addition to what Madame Karen Ferres said, is the fact that we will put the data and we will have testimonies explaining that. And in the survey, when you end the survey, you are able, which is this part totally anonymous, you will be able to let your email address if you want to have a testimony on what you are living. So you will be contacted if there are too much people, we will sort out the people. But it's important to get this testimony also done on a scientific basis, and it's a reason why it is not inside the survey, because it's anonymous, it's outside the survey.
Okay. And I mean, this question goes for both of you, because I know that there's going to be maybe two different approaches, depending, you know, where we are. But let's start with Karen with Latin America. What role can patient organizations, ambassadors, and dermatologists play in encouraging people to participate?
Oh, they are the main characters in this story. They are very important to tell people that this is going on. So if you are just living your life and just inside your head living this horrible vitiligo story, and someone comes over and tells you, you know, we can listen to you, then they can express what's going on, and then we can do something about it. So patient organizations, ambassadors, and everyone, pretty much everyone that's living with vitiligo or caring for someone with vitiligo or know someone with vitiligo can change the course of history. So just telling the people that this is going on and taking the 10 to 20 minutes that it takes to answer very easy questions can really make a difference. So everyone is the main character, and everyone can do this, and everyone should. It is more than our honor to do this. This is our responsibility, because if we don't do this, no one will do it for us. So this is our job.
Yes. Jean-Marie, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, every voice, every answer will matter. It's really important that the people understand that, as we said, if there is no answers, nobody will take care about. If there are 10 answers, people will think, oh yes, it's an issue. When you have 100,000 and more people, So this is to be taken in account. You need to give an answer. We need to analyze the answer and to bring that to the stage and be explaining that. And we have one goal, and we will be in Mexico next year in June during the World Dermatology Congress in Guadalajara in June, which will be at the same time with the World Vitiligo Day. So it will be very interesting to discuss about that.
So I just want to say something that I've been thinking ever since we started with this study. I have this image, this scene of Mulan movie. At the beginning, the emperor says, "A single grain of rice can tip the scale." And this is like every answer. Like we all think like, well, what's the difference, right? If I answer or if I don't, it's gonna be the same, and it's not. Like a single grain of rice can make the whole difference. So every voice matters, as January said.
You both made me think about, there's statistic globally that we have. We always say there's the 1 to 2% worldwide people with vitiligo. But I was just wondering, like, what if we're more, but there's people who are not being diagnosed? So this study also helped us, to even have a little bit more of a real data or updated, because I know that at least for the 6 years that I've been in this journey about talking about my vitiligo and being more involved in the awareness and the advocacy, I've been saying the same data, but what if we're more now, so I believe that this is important, because even to count us in to know that if maybe it's even growing and it's a little bit more of the population worldwide, we don't know. So I was just thinking about that while I was listening, that there's another importance, because we've been having a certain data, but what if it's even more now? No, that could be very interesting. And we're almost towards the end. And thank you. I just have one more question for both of you. What message would you like to share with people with vitiligo who are still deciding whether to answer the survey or still wonders if it can really make a difference? I mean, I know, Karen, you said right now the rice, and that's totally true. But what message would you tell them, Jean-Marie? Let's start with you.
Yeah. When as patient, and you as patient, everyone as patient is speaking, talking, you want to bring a message. And the message that you will bring, it's through this survey today. And what I have not spoken about is the fact that is the beginning of a story. The answer that you are bringing today, what we are forecasting is to launch in two years, or maybe 2 or 3 years, a new survey, and to build an observatory of the vitiligo situation and to see what are the difference, how we improve or not improve the situation of vitiligo patient, and go back also to the institution and saying, we have this discrepancy, how we can make it better, how can we implement a new action on that. And I think we will have positive answers about that, because even as Karen Ferres said, when you have no data, you can't measure, and when you can't measure, you can't improve. And we are here to improve the daily life of vitiligo patients around the world.
Beautiful. Karen, what message do you have?
I would tell the patients, you have the power. I like to tell them in my office, this is the best time in history to have vitiligo. We are having this new awareness and these new groups and these new activities and everything that makes living with vitiligo different. So for the first time ever, we are calling up for you guys to listen. This is such an opportunity to be powerful, to feel that we can actually change the world, and we can. So take the opportunity.
Yes, I would like to add a message myself now that I've learned a little bit more, and we've been waiting for this moment to be heard. So this is our moment, this is our chance. So if you haven't answered, this was created for you who you were wondering, who you were doubting if it mattered, and it does matter because our voice matters. Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I mean, I know Karen is very familiar with this part, but Jean-Marie, I would like to share with you. So before we wrap up, we like to end one of our favorite traditions in this podcast. At VT Talks, we believe that vitiligo is more than just a diagnosis. It's a unique personal journey. That's why we've created our own dictionary to help redefine what vitiligo means through the voices of our guests. So, in just one word or a short phrase, for you, vitiligo is, Jean Marie?
The future is hope.
Beautiful. Like you said, we've talked about the voices in our present matters, but the future is our hope. Beautiful. Thank you. You, Karen, would you like to redefine vitiligo since this point of view?
Yeah, I've been here before. I've had other definitions, but for today, I would like to choose opportunity.
Beautiful. Very perfect and pointed for today's episode. Well, thank you so much. And Jean Marie, obviously, this is also a space so you can share um, where people can contact or learn more about vitiligo, about the survey. If you want to share website, social media, this is your space.
Yes, thank you. When you want to know more about VPV and VIPOC, you have a good synthetic link, which is www.vpv.vipoc.org, which is the link directly to the landing page, and you have a box when you click, and you have the choice in the 16 languages. I guess you will choose better Spanish than Hindi or Mandarin, but it's also languages that are translated in this study.
Beautiful. We will also add it with the description of the video. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing your time and for everything that you do for our community. And thank you, Karen, as well, for also raising the voice here in Latin America, because it's like Jean Marie said, no, there's a lot of Spanish-speaking community worldwide, and it's very important for every voices to be heard. So thank you as well for everything that you do, not only with the Mexican Foundation. Vitiligo Mexican Foundation, but also for Latin America as the Vice President of Latin America in VPOC. So thank you. That is all for this episode. Thank you for joining us and for helping us continue to transform the conversation, redefine perceptions, and bring greater awareness for a topic that isn't talked about nearly enough, vitiligo. We'll see you in the next episode of PT Talks. Thank you always, and bye for now. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.